turmoil in the country is likely to get prolonged as a faction of the ruling Nepal Communist Party and the main opposition Nepali Congress have announced fresh protest programs against the government move to dissolve the House of Representatives. Meanwhile, the countrymen are also waiting anxiously for the verdict of the Constitutional Bench today on the writs filed against the dissolution of the lower house. Good morning, I'm Abhiday Shrestha, and these are the headlines of the hour. NCP Executive Chairman Dahal says conspiracies on to jail the leaders opposing the government. The Dahal Nepal faction to launch a nationwide protest against the dissolution of the House. Nepali Congress announces protest programs against the government move to dissolve the House of Representatives. Janata Party urges the Speaker to summon the session of the dissolved House. South Korean Ambassador to Nepal Park Chung-suk says issues related with the EPS only to be resolved once the corona crisis subsides. And the EU and UK reach a post-Brexit trade deal ending months of disagreements over fishing rights and future business rules. The Pushpa Kamal Dahal Madhav Kumar Nepal faction of the Nepal Communist Party has decided to hold a nationwide protest against the dissolution of the House of Representatives. Addressing the Central Committee meeting yesterday, Executive Chairman Dahal went on to say that conspiracies were on to jail the leaders opposing the government. We have more in this report.
Speaking at the closing ceremony of the Central Committee meeting on Thursday, an aggressive-looking Pushpa Kamal Dahal, during his hour-long speech, spent most of his time flaying Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli. Saying that there were conspiracies to arrest the leaders of the disgruntled faction, he repeatedly questioned the party colleagues if they were ready to join him to the prison. Referring to the dissolution of the House of Representatives, Executive Chair Dahal said that the Prime Minister could go to any extent to fulfill his vested interests. Leader Dahal also said that appointments at constitutional bodies were a part of the conspiracy and that the entire country was now waiting for the free and fair verdict of the top court and election commission. The Dahal Nepal-led faction has launched nationwide agitation beginning Friday against the government move and has already started campaigns to win the confidence of the party cadres.
The Central Committee meeting of the Nepal Communist Party, led by Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli, has revoked the post of the Executive Chairman entrusted to Pushpa Kamal Dahal. The Central Committee meeting held at the Prime Minister's official residence in Balwatar yesterday afternoon removed Dahal from the post for what it said due to Leader Dahal's failure to perform the assigned responsibility. The Secretariat meeting of the Nepal Communist Party held in November 2018 had appointed Dahal as the executive chairman of the party. The factional meeting also appointed the party's coordinators for all the 7 provinces. Subhas Nemwang has been appointed for Province 1, Satyanaran Mandal for Province 2, Ishwar Pokhrel for Bagmati Province, Shankar Pokhrel for Lumbini Province, Prithvi Subba Gurung for Gandaki Province, Mani Thapa for Karnali Province, and Lekh Raj Bhatta for Sudur Pashchim Province. Likewise, the meeting picked Top Bahadur Raimajhi as the coordinator of the sister organizations. Meanwhile, Secretariat Committee member and Home Minister Ram Bahadur Thapa opted to remain in the Oli-led faction. During the meeting, Home Minister Thapa defended the government's decision to dissolve the lower house, terming the Dahal Nepal faction as reactionary. The main opposition Nepali Congress has also announced a nationwide protest on 28th of December against the dissolution of the House of Representatives. The Central Committee meeting of the main opposition party held yesterday afternoon decided to hold the protest in all the 165 constituencies across the country. General Secretary Purna Bahadur Khadga informed that the meeting launched the protest program with the conclusion that the dissolution of the lower house was unconstitutional and autocratic. The Central Committee meeting of Nepali Congress that started on Tuesday is mulling over the possible strategy to be taken by the party. Janata Party has urged Speaker Agni Sapkota to summon the session of the dissolved House of Representatives. Chairman duo of the party, Upendra Yadav and Baburam Bhattarai, along with leader Lakshman Lal Karna, met Speaker Agni Sapkota yesterday afternoon and urged to call the lower house meeting, saying that the constitution did not allow the Prime Minister to dissolve the House of Representatives. The party has been agitated against the dissolution of the lower house since Wednesday. India has said that it has noted the recent political developments in Nepal. Speaking at a weekly virtual press conference at the Indian Ministry of External Affairs yesterday, spokesperson for the ministry, Anurag Srivastav, said the current development was an internal matter of Nepal, adding that India would continue its support to Nepal for peace, prosperity and development. This was the Indian government's first official response to the dissolution of the House of Representatives. Nepal and South Korea have exchanged diplomatic and bilateral relationship for over 4 decades now. In this period, the two nations have been partners in trade and investment, cultural exchange and tourism activities. South Korea is also one of the most preferred destinations for Nepali migrant workers. Our colleague Sarah Sapsanama Rai had a conversation with the South Korean ambassador to Nepal, Park Chung-suk. Here are the excerpts.
Your Excellency, welcome to Kantipur News.
Thank you. Namaste.
South Korea and Nepal have been very good friends for many decades now, and it's also one of the most preferred destinations for Nepali migrant workers. There are around 9,000 Nepali migrant workers who have already cleared their EPS tests but are waiting to go to South Korea. The Department of Foreign Employment has also proposed to extend their EPS certificates by 6 months, but the South Korean government has yet to respond on it. What's causing the delay?
The delay mostly is due to COVID-19. Because of the pandemic, there have been some restrictions. But this restriction is not limited to Nepal. It's also being applied to 16 other countries, EPS-related countries. And I'm sure maybe earlier next year, when the COVID-19 is down, then Nepali workers can go, continue to go to Korea. That's for sure.
Are there any strategies already on plan for it?
It's not on plan right now, because everybody knows that COVID-19, even Korea, is now grappling with this situation. Korea's domestic situation is not very good. And so we have tonight and wait until the situation is down.
This is a really fresh data from Department of Customs here. In the past 5 months, or the first 5 months of the ongoing fiscal year, Nepal has imported goods worth 6 billion rupees from South Korea, while it has exported goods worth 60 million rupees. What do you think of the trade deficit, the gap, and what do you think should be done to reduce the gap?
We have to correct this, the current situation. And I think, actually, the existing apparatus in place, because World Trade Organization, WTO, is already has the clause that toward LDC countries, least developed countries, advanced countries are giving more preferential treatments in terms of customs duty. So it's called a generalized system of preference. But in spite of this system, still, the trade deficit, especially in terms of products, is happening. So, I personally think because Nepali industry is not that strong, but still they have some, in some sectors they have comparative advantage, like garments and tea or coffee, and other products have have some competitiveness. Nepali businessmen should publicize their product to the Korean buyers, and that's one of the methods. But still, because I think Nepal has large room to develop a manufacturing industry.
Your Excellency, it was a pleasure having you in Kantipur News. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
The workforces at the Land Revenue Office, Survey Department, among other administrative centers, have been unwilling to assist service seekers, citing lack of manpower, among other reasons, which has ultimately hindered administrative works. In this context, in our Public Voice segment, we had asked the local residents in Sindhupalchok district what measures need to be taken to accelerate work procedures in such administrative centers. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
महिला अलग पुरुष अलग बसेर अनि आफ्नो लाइन बाइ लाइन बोलायो भने त्यो धेरै राम्रो हुनु छ
भिडभाड हुँदैन थियो फरक फरक बार पार्न पाए लाइन हुँदैन थियो
फरक बारमा फरक सेवा सुविधाहरु दियो भने चाहिँ लिनेलाई पनि दिनेलाई पनि अलि सहज हुन्थ्यो अनि यसमा भिडभाडहरु पनि कम हुन्थ्यो
अनलाइन प्रक्रियाबाट राम्रोसँग फर्महरु भरेर नयाँ सुविधाहरु दिए राम्रो हुन्थ्यो
सामाजिक दूरी कायम गरेर बस्दिनु हुनु भन्ने एउटा नयाँ चेतनाको लागि चाहिँ दुई चार जना कर्मचारी अथवा प्रशासनको चाहिँ प्रहरीहरु चाहिँ परिचालन गर्दिन पाए झनै उत्तम हुन्थ्यो
And it's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion. And here's the question. Why is Nepal Airlines Corporation planning to buy aircrafts even as its existing fleet is not fully used? Your options are A, to expand business, B, ploy to show work, and C, commission game. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B, or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And that's all for the moment. Keep watching Kantipur Television HD for more news and entertainment. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.